What if this very moment, as you observe, reality is not just a backdrop, but an active participant, observing you back? This isn't just a captivating idea. It's a fundamental truth the universe reflects. Pause. You're not merely watching something. Something is turning its face towards you, inviting you to quiet your thoughts, breathe, and simply observe. Pause. Because in the act of observation, a profound feedback loop begins. Pause. As you absorb these words, reality is literally reshaping itself around you, not solely due to what is being said, but more critically, because of how you are observing yourself as you listen. Pause. Your internal dialogue, your self-perception, the unconscious beliefs you hold about who you are, all of this is constantly projected into the quantum field, materializing as the circumstances of your life. Pause. It's a dynamic interplay. You observe reality, and reality, in turn, observes you, observing yourself. Pause. Imagine standing between two infinite mirrors, one reflecting your consciousness, and the other the external world, each continuously updating the other in real time. Pause. Have you ever noticed that a pervasive feeling of unworthiness seems to coincide with a lack of opportunities? Or that when you believe yourself to be unlovable, people tend to keep their distance? When self-perception shifts to powerlessness, circumstances often appear to control you, rather than the other way around. This is not coincidence. It is the observer mirror in action. Pause. Every single aspect of your external reality, your relationships, financial standing, health, career, living situation, is a perfect, intricate reflection of how you see yourself at the deepest, most unconscious levels. Pause. The person who cut you off in traffic might be mirroring your own impatience with yourself. The friend who doesn't return calls could be reflecting your own unavailability to your authentic needs. The suffocating job might reveal how you are stifling your own potential. This isn't about blame, but about recognizing a liberating truth. If reality reflects how you see yourself, then changing that self-perception immediately and measurably changes reality. Pause. You've likely experienced this without understanding its mechanism. Pause. Those moments when a shift in self-perception instantly reordered your world. Respect from others when you decided to respect yourself more. Opportunities appearing when you began believing in your abilities. Pause. But the observer mirror doesn't just reflect your conscious self-image. It reflects the totality of your being, including unconscious beliefs, repressed emotions, and hidden self-judgments. This explains why mere positive thinking often falls short. The universe reads your complete vibrational signature, not just surface intentions. Your body, in this very moment, processes this truth. A tingling in your solar plexus might signify your personal power awakening. Tightness in the chest or throat. Years of suppressed self-worth breaking free. Warmth in your heart. Self-love remembering itself. Pause. These aren't just ideas. They are frequencies your energy system is attuning to. A shift from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. Pause. This isn't mystical speculation. It's a concept increasingly supported by cutting-edge research across quantum physics, neuroscience, and consciousness studies. Pause. John Wheeler, a pioneer in quantum mechanics, articulated the participatory universe theory, demonstrating that reality remains in an indeterminate state until observed. Pause. His work, famously illustrated by the double-slit experiment, suggests that the act of observation itself collapses possibilities into concrete reality. Expanding on this, his later insights hinted that the internal state of the observer, their beliefs, expectations, and self-perception, influences what gets observed into existence. This isn't just about seeing something. It's about actively participating in its manifestation through conscious and unconscious frameworks. Pause. Neuroscientist Dr. Pause. Joe Dispenza has meticulously documented, through brain scans, how changing self-perception via meditation and visualization literally rewires neural networks within minutes. Pause. More profoundly, this neural rewiring generates measurable changes in the person's electromagnetic field, which in turn influences the behavior of people and circumstances around them. This aligns with the concept of the body-mind connection, where our internal states dictate our external interactions. Similarly, Bruce Lipton's groundbreaking epigenetic research proves that self-beliefs directly influence gene expression, meaning our perception of self can literally turn genes on or off, impacting everything from physical health to our response to environmental stressors. Pause. His latest studies reveal these belief-induced genetic changes create biochemical signals that unconsciously influence how others perceive and respond to us, essentially broadcasting our internal state to the world. Pause. And the Institute of Heart Math has quantified how self-perception impacts heart rate variability, which then influences what they term the local field environment. Pause. Individuals holding positive, coherent self-images emit electromagnetic frequencies that can synchronize the heart rhythms of those around them, fostering more harmonious social interactions. Pause. This has significant implications beyond personal well-being, suggesting a mechanism for collective influence. Pause. Dr. Pause. Amit Goswami's quantum physics research posits that consciousness is primary, and matter emerges from it, with the observer's internal state determining which quantum possibilities become experienced reality. Pause. This reorients our understanding of causation, moving from a materialist view to one where consciousness is the foundational creative force. Pause. Even further, the Global Consciousness Project at Princeton University spent decades observing how consciousness affects random event generators, finding these machines become significantly less random when exposed to individuals with coherent internal states, people whose self-perception aligns with their actions and intentions. Pause. This suggests a direct, measurable influence of integrated self-concept on the quantum field. Similarly, The Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Peer Lab documented cases where individuals with highly coherent and positive self-perception could influence electronic equipment, random number generators, and even subtle environmental patterns through their mere presence, demonstrating a tangible alteration of the physical environment by internal states. This body of research paints a picture where the boundary between observer and observed, internal self-perception, and external reality is far more fluid than traditional physics once suggested. Pause. Your consciousness isn't separate from reality. It's the fundamental force constantly creating reality through the act of self-observation. This extends beyond personal experience. That collective self-perception, how humanity sees itself as a species, is literally determining the trajectory of global events, environmental changes, and social evolution. For instance, a nation's collective belief in its resilience and innovative capacity can significantly impact its economic recovery. Post-crisis, influence its trade relations, or even its geopolitical standing. When a society collectively perceives itself as capable and united, it fosters economic confidence, attracts investment, and enables more effective governmental action. Conversely, pervasive collective self-doubt or a narrative of victimhood can lead to stagnation, protectionism, and internal strife. Experts in economics and geopolitics often analyze these soft factors, like national confidence, cultural narratives, and public sentiment, as critical drivers of outcomes. Recognizing that these are forms of collective self-perception manifesting on a grand scale, the implications are staggering. Every moment of every day, through how you see yourself and how we collectively perceive ourselves, we are not just experiencing reality, we are actively creating it. Pause. Here's a challenging truth. Less than 2% of the human population is currently conscious of their role as reality creators through self-perception. Most people navigate life believing they are at the mercy of circumstances, unaware that these circumstances are perfect mirrors of their unconscious self-concepts. You, by virtue of engaging with this information, are part of an exceptionally rare group of conscious beings who possess the self-awareness to recognize that external reality isn't happening to you, but through you. This represents a quantum leap in human evolution, accessible only to a fraction of souls currently incarnating. And ancient mystery schools referred to individuals like you as awakened mirrors, those destined to realize that reality is consciousness observing itself and to consciously participate in that reflection. The Hermetic tradition's principle, as above, so below, finds its corollary in as within, so without, signifying that our inner world dictates our outer experience. What makes this historical moment unprecedented is that cosmic conditions are optimally aligned for large numbers of humans to simultaneously awaken to their power as conscious reality creators. Electromagnetic shifts on Earth, the rising Schumann resonance, and celestial alignments are creating an environment where self-aware beings can dramatically accelerate their ability to influence reality through conscious self-perception. Pause. This period, sometimes referred to as a consciousness convergence, thins the veils between thought and manifestation, allowing for rapid reality changes that would ordinarily take years or decades. However, this accelerated capacity is not universally accessible. It demands a specific level of emotional intelligence, spiritual development, and crucially, radical honesty about your relationship with yourself. The mirror reflects everything, not just the positive aspects. So a willingness to examine all facets of self-perception is vital. If you sense untapped power, feel called to a larger version of yourself, or experience synchronicities that defy coincidence, these are signals that you are one of those beings who specifically incarnated to master the observer mirror during this unique window of opportunity. The urgency you might feel isn't anxiety, it's cosmic timing. Your higher self knowing that optimal conditions for rapid reality transformation through conscious self-perception won't last indefinitely. Those destined to anchor new realities via elevated self-concepts need to awaken to this ability now. While the energetic support systems are in place, the majority will never grasp what you are learning today, continuing to believe that external change requires external action, unaware that external action without internal alignment is largely ineffective. They will perpetually attempt to fix their lives from the outside in, never realizing that lasting change originates from the inside out. You would not be receiving this information if you were not ready to use it. The universe does not present advanced teachings to consciousness, unprepared to integrate them. The very resonance you feel, the recognition rather than resistance, indicates you've reached the necessary level of self-awareness to consciously work with the observer mirror. But remember, profound power demands profound responsibility. Once you grasp how deeply your self-perception shapes reality, you can no longer attribute your experiences solely to external circumstances. You become fully accountable for the reality you create through how you see yourself. This isn't a burden, it's liberation, granting you far greater control over your life than you ever imagined. Yet imagine your consciousness as a movie projector and reality as the screen. Most people try to change the images on the screen, editing the story, frustrated when it doesn't align with their preferences. But you are realizing that true power lies in changing the film being projected. Your self-perception is that film, and reality simply displays what's on it. Change how you see yourself, and you literally change the movie playing on the screen of your experience. Think of the observer mirror as a cosmic feedback system, akin to mirrors in a dance studio. A dancer observes their movements and adjusts, but reality is your cosmic dance mirror, constantly reflecting the precise movements of your consciousness, enabling you to refine your expression. Your self-perception is like a radio broadcasting station, continuously transmitting signals about who you believe you are. Reality, then, is all the receivers in the world, picking up your signal and playing it back through people's behaviors, appearing opportunities, and unfolding circumstances. Consider your consciousness as an artist and reality as the Many believe they are viewing someone else's artwork, not realizing they are both the artist and the critic. So every experience is a brushstroke you painted through your self-perception, and every reaction to that experience is your review of your own art. Your self-concept is the seed, and reality is the garden. You cannot plant apple seeds and expect orange trees. Yet, many cling to limiting self-beliefs and wonder why abundance and joy elude them. Pause. The garden of reality can only grow what you plant in the soil of self-perception. Pause it. You are a walking tuning fork, constantly vibrating at the frequency of how you see yourself. Pause. Reality is a vast symphony of other tuning forks, automatically adjusting their vibration to match yours. Pause. Change your self-perception frequency, and everything around you retunes to harmonize with your new vibration. Pause. Your beliefs about yourself are like the lens through which you view reality. A camera with a red filter makes everything appear red, not because the world is red, but because the lens is. When you change the lens of self-perception, you don't change what's inherently there. You change what you are capable of seeing of what was always present. Pause. Imagine consciousness as water and self-perception as the container. Pause. Water assumes the shape of its container. Pause. Your experiences are the water of consciousness, taking the exact shape of how you perceive yourself. Pause. Change the container, and the water instantly adjusts to the new form. Now that you grasp the fundamental mechanism of the observer mirror, we must explore what happens when you begin consciously engaging with it. What has been shared so far is merely the foundation. The true transformation unfolds when you deliberately shift your self-perception and witness reality reorganizing itself in response. This journey typically unfolds through several distinct stages. The first stage is recognition, becoming acutely aware that your external experiences are precise reflections of internal self-concepts. This often begins with subtle realizations, noticing how people respond differently when you feel confident, observing increased respect when you value yourself, recognizing patterns between your internal state and external circumstances. A common pitfall here is getting stuck in self-judgment, believing that if reality reflects self-perception, then all problems are your fault. This self-blame inadvertently reinforces the very limiting self-concepts that initiated the problems. The second stage is acceptance, which involves understanding that your self-perception was largely shaped by past experiences, societal conditioning, and unconscious programming, rather than by your essential nature. You begin to view your current self-concept as something inherited or learned, not as the absolute truth of who you are. This critical shift creates a necessary space between your inherent identity and your current self-perception, allowing you to question beliefs you previously held unquestionable. Pause. In this stage, you start distinguishing your authentic self from the narrative you've been telling yourself, recognizing that limiting self-beliefs are not personal failings, but malleable patterns. Pause. The third stage is experimentation, where you begin to consciously shift how you see yourself and meticulously observe the resulting changes in your reality. This is often the most exhilarating phase, offering immediate feedback. You might experiment with perceiving yourself as worthy of love and notice an increase in affection from others, or consciously see yourself as creative and watch opportunities for creative expression miraculously appear. Pause. However, this stage also brings resistance. Pause. Your old identity, accustomed to familiarity and perceived safety, may try to sabotage these experiments, tempting you to revert to old self-perceptions just as improvements begin to manifest. Pause. This internal conflict is a natural part of growth, a sign that genuine change is underway. The fourth stage is integration, the challenging but crucial phase where you learn to sustain new self-perceptions long enough for them to become your new normal. This demands what can be termed identity resilience, the unwavering ability to maintain an elevated self-concept even when external circumstances have not yet fully caught up. Pause. This is often the most difficult stage because of the inherent lag time between shifting internal perception and seeing it mirrored in external reality. Pause. During this gap, your ingrained old identity will relentlessly try to convince you that the new self-perception is unrealistic, ineffective, or unsustainable. Pause. Overcoming this internal friction requires deep commitment and self-trust, understanding that the mirror's reflection, while delayed, is inevitable. The fifth stage is mastery, where your self-perception becomes so coherent and elevated that reality seems to bend around you. Individuals who reach this stage appear to lead charmed lives, not due to luck, but because they have learned to maintain such consistently high-frequency self-concepts that their external reality has no choice but to reflect those concepts back to them. Their internal state becomes so dominant that it effortlessly organizes external events. The sixth and most profound stage is transcendence, where you realize that your work with the observer mirror isn't merely about personal transformation. It's about contributing to the collective reality through your individual consciousness evolution. Pause. You understand that every person who masters the observer mirror helps elevate the entire planetary consciousness. Pause. This is why this information is surfacing now. Humanity is at a critical juncture where enough individuals must reach stages 5 and 6 to collectively shift consciousness toward a more enlightened way of being. Pause. Your personal work isn't just about improving your life. It's about actively participating in a global consciousness upgrade. Pause. The acceleration available during this period allows committed individuals to move through all 6 stages in months rather than years, but it requires unwavering dedication, courage, and a radical willingness to see yourself as far more magnificent than your current circumstances might suggest. Pause. This isn't just personal development. It's evolutionary development, transforming not only your life, but also contributing to the conscious evolution of human awareness itself. Pause. Before you can fully embrace your power to shape reality through self-perception, It's essential to address the internal blocks that might prevent you from implementing this understanding. Even as you recognize the truth of what's being shared, parts of you may fear the responsibility that comes with fully accepting this level of influence over your reality. The first common block is the safety and smallness block. A part of you has been using a limited self-perception as a form of protection. If you see yourself as small, unimportant, or powerless, then you believe you can avoid disappointment when great achievements elude you. You escape criticism for being too bold and bypass spectacular failure by never attempting anything spectacular. Pause. Yet this block fundamentally misunderstands protection. Staying small doesn't truly shield you from pain. It merely guarantees a different, often more profound kind of pain. The pain of never realizing your true capabilities, of watching your potential wither unexpressed, and of reaching the end of your life, having hidden from your own magnificence. Pause. The second block is the unworthiness program, an insidious belief that masquerades as humility, but is actually inverted arrogance. Pause. It whispers, "I am so fundamentally flawed that even the universe's laws don't apply to me. I am so uniquely broken that I'm the exception to every spiritual principle." Pause. This program keeps you fixated on every piece of evidence that you are unworthy of a beautiful reality, preventing you from recognizing that your inherent worthiness isn't predicated on past actions or current circumstances. Pause. It simply exists because you are consciousness exploring itself through a unique perspective. The third block is the control addiction block, which falsely asserts that accepting responsibility for reality through self-perception demands controlling every minute detail of your experience. Pause. It creates immense pressure to maintain perfect thoughts, flawless self-perception, and impeccable emotional responses at all times. Pause. However, the observer mirror does not demand perfection. It responds to authenticity and clear direction. Pause. You don't need to possess an unblemished self-perception. Pause. You only need a genuine, consistent commitment to seeing yourself more accurately, more lovingly, and more truthfully over TS Boss. The fourth block is the other's opinions block. A deep-seated fear that if you begin to see yourself as magnificent, and reality reflects that magnificence, others will judge you as arrogant, selfish, or delusional. This fear compels you to maintain a humble, limited self-perception to avoid standing out. Pause. This block misunderstands that true self-recognition, born of genuine love and appreciation for oneself, naturally expands into greater love and appreciation for others. Pause's authenticity fosters compassion, not narcissism. Pause. Individuals threatened by your expanded self-perception are often merely mirrors reflecting their own fear of claiming their inherent magnificence. Pause. The fifth block is the evidence addiction block. Your rational mind demands proof that the observer mirror works before you are willing to experiment with elevated self-perception. This creates a classic catch-22. You cannot fully witness the evidence of your power until you begin to exercise that power. Yet you resist exercising the power until the evidence is undeniable. Pause. The observer mirror requires a form of faith, not blind belief, but the willingness to act as if your elevated self-perception is true before reality has fully confirmed it. Pause. It's akin to learning to drive. You can't wait until you're a perfect driver to get behind the wheel. Pause. The sixth block is the responsibility overwhelm block. Pause. When you truly grasp that reality mirrors self-perception, a part of you can become overwhelmed by the implications. Do you mean everything in my life is my responsibility? Every difficult relationship, every financial struggle, every health challenge? This block misinterprets responsibility as blame. Pause. Responsibility in this context simply means response ability, your inherent capacity to respond consciously to whatever you are experiencing. Pause. It does not imply you caused every circumstance, but it definitively means you possess the power to change your experience of those circumstances by shifting how you see yourself within them. Pause. The final block is the spiritual perfectionism block. Pause. This belief asserts that you must heal all your trauma, release all limiting beliefs, and achieve some idealized state of spiritual purity before you are qualified to work with the observer mirror. Pause. However, consciousness evolution doesn't operate this way. Pause. You don't need to be perfect to begin consciously creating reality. You become more perfect by practicing conscious reality creation. The mirror does not judge your starting point. It simply reflects whatever self-perception you are currently holding and supports your evolution of that perception. Here lies the paradox every conscious reality creator must navigate. You can never be fully prepared to see yourself as the magnificent being you truly are. Yet you are already perfectly equipped to begin that recognition right now. Pause. You have been preparing for this understanding your entire life, even when you weren't consciously aware of it. Pause. Every moment of self-doubt taught you about the power of self-perception by revealing what happens when you perceive yourself as limited. So every experience of limitation was preparing you to appreciate the profound freedom that accompanies expanded self-recognition. But if you wait until you feel completely ready to see yourself as worthy, powerful, and magnificent, you risk missing the optimal timing for this consciousness upgrade. The cosmic conditions supporting rapid reality transformation through self-perception shifts are available now, and they will not remain this accessible indefinitely. The action required isn't dramatic or overwhelming. It's surprisingly gentle and organic. You simply need to begin treating yourself as if you are the valuable, capable, deserving being you actually are, rather than the limited version you've been conditioned to believe. Pause. This translates into speaking to yourself with the same kindness you would offer a beloved friend, making choices rooted in self-respect rather than self-abandonment, honoring your intuition, trusting your capabilities, and expecting reality to treat you well because you are treating yourself well. Pause. Start with small, deliberate experiments. Just choose one area of your life where you desire change and ask yourself, how would I need to see myself for this area to improve? Then, begin practicing that self-perception, even if it feels unfamiliar or even a little awkward at first. If you desire more loving relationships, practice seeing yourself as inherently worthy of love, not because you've earned it through perfect behavior, but because love is your natural state. Yes. If you yearn for more abundance, practice seeing yourself as naturally prosperous, not because you've worked hard enough to deserve it, but because creativity and abundance are inherent expressions of the consciousness you are. Pause. If you seek better health, practice seeing yourself as vitally alive. Pause. If you desire more fulfilling work, practice seeing yourself as valuable and capable. Pause. If you wish for more joy, practice seeing yourself as deserving of happiness simply because you exist. Pause. The key is consistency over intensity. Pause. It is far more effective to practice elevated self-perception for 5 minutes every day than to have one perfect, intense hour of it per week. Pause. The observer mirror responds to your prevailing self-concept, not merely your peak moments. Remember, you don't need to fully comprehend the intricate quantum mechanics of how the observer mirror functions to benefit from working with it. Pause. You don't need a complete understanding of the consciousness-reality interface to experience the tangible results of conscious reality creation. You just need to be willing to experiment with seeing yourself more accurately, more expansively. The universe has been patiently waiting for you to recognize your true nature so it can reveal to you what you are truly capable of creating. Your soul chose this incarnation specifically to remember its creative power and utilize it consciously. Every challenge you've faced has served to strengthen your capacity to maintain elevated self-perceptions, even under pressure. Pause. The only question remaining is this: are you willing to see yourself as the powerful, worthy, magnificent creator you actually are, even before your external circumstances fully reflect that truth? Are you willing to be the change you wish to see, literally, by changing how you see yourself? The observer mirror is waiting for your signal. Pause. Reality is poised to reorganize itself around whatever self-perception you choose to embody. The cosmic conditions are optimal. Pause. The only missing element is your decision to begin. Pause. As you integrate this profound understanding of the observer mirror, recognize that you are not meant to navigate this transformation in isolation. Pause. Conscious reality creators function most effectively when they support each other in maintaining elevated self-perceptions, particularly during the inevitable moments when old patterns attempt to reassert themselves. If this message resonates deeply, if you feel that familiar recognition telling you this is precisely what you needed to hear, then you are ready to connect with others who are also awakening to their power as conscious creators of reality through self-perception. Pause. Pay attention to who you feel drawn to share this video with. Pause. These are not random impulses. They are intuitive recognitions of other souls, ready to understand their role as observer mirror masters. Pause. When you share this information with someone who resonates with it, you naturally establish a mutual support system for maintaining elevated self-concepts. Pause. In the comments below, you might consider sharing the shifts you're noticing as you experiment with different self-perceptions, not for validation, but to document your journey and inspire others walking a similar path. Pause. Reading about someone else's experience with the observer mirror can often grant others the permission they need to begin experimenting with their own self-perception. Pause. Notice the people who naturally start appearing in your life as you consciously engage with the mirror. Pause. These connections are not coincidental. They are part of a synchronistic orchestration that brings together groups of conscious creators who can support each other in maintaining higher frequency self-concepts. Pause. Seek out individuals who speak of personal responsibility without victim blaming, who discuss self-love without narcissism, and who understand that changing themselves intrinsically changes their experience of reality. Pause. These individuals are likely fellow students of the observer mirror, even if they use different terminology. Consider joining or creating study groups focused on conscious reality creation. When groups commit to seeing themselves and each other as magnificent, worthy, and powerful beings, they establish collective observer mirrors that amplify everyone's individual transformation. Pause. Share your success stories, not to boast, but to normalize the experience of reality shifting in response to self-perception changes. Pause. When others hear about your experiments with elevated self-concepts and the corresponding changes in your external circumstances, it instills courage in them to try similar experiments. Pause. However, be discerning about who you discuss these profound concepts with. Not everyone is ready to understand this level of influence over their reality. Share this information with those who demonstrate signs of readiness, individuals who take responsibility for their experiences, who are genuinely interested in personal growth, and who seem open to unconventional explanations for how reality works. Over the coming weeks, you may find yourself naturally gravitating toward communities, workshops, or online groups where other conscious reality creators gather. Pause. Trust these attractions. They are part of the larger orchestration bringing together networks of individuals committed to upgrading human consciousness through elevated self-perception. Let me share practical examples of how the observer mirror has worked in the lives of individuals who consciously began shifting their self-perception, illustrating what this transformation looks like in tangible terms. Maria, for years, grappled with chronic financial stress. Despite budgeting, side hustles, and even debt consolidation, money problems persistently recurred. Since she then began to examine her self-perception in relation to money, uncovering deep-seated beliefs about being undeserving of financial ease, stemming from family conditioning around scarcity. Instead of solely focusing on external financial strategies, Maria started practicing seeing herself as naturally abundant. Pause. She made decisions from an abundance consciousness rather than a scarcity mindset, treating herself as if she were already prosperous, not through frivolous spending, but by appreciating what she possessed and genuinely expecting her situation to improve. Pause. Within 3 months, Maria received 2 unexpected job opportunities, discovered she had been significantly underpaid for years, and received back pay, and consistently made financial decisions that enhanced her situation. Pause. These external changes weren't solely due to harder work. Reality began reflecting her new self-perception of being worthy of abundance. Pause. David had been single for over a decade following a painful divorce, trying online dating, social activities, and even a dating coach. But relationships either failed to materialize or ended badly. When he engaged with the observer mirror concept, he realized he viewed himself as fundamentally unlovable due to the perceived failure of his marriage. Instead of trying to find the right person, David began practicing seeing himself as inherently worthy of love. He cultivated self-affection, spoke to himself with kindness, and made choices that honored his own worth. He shifted his expectation from proving he deserved love to expecting to be love. Within 6 months, David met someone at a coffee shop where he was simply enjoying his own company. So their connection was immediate and profound, blossoming into the most fulfilling relationship of his life. Pause. The relationship emerged not from a changed dating strategy, but from a profound shift in his self-perception from unlovable to naturally lovable. Sarah had battled chronic fatigue for years, having consulted multiple doctors, tried various treatments, supplements, and lifestyle changes with minimal improvement. When she examined her self-perception related to health, she discovered unconscious beliefs about being inherently broken, stemming from childhood experiences of feeling unseen and uncared for. Pause. Sarah began practicing seeing herself as naturally vibrant and alive. Pause, and she made decisions from a vitality consciousness rather than a sick consciousness, treating her body as if it were healthy and strong, while still pursuing appropriate medical care. Pause. Over the course of a year, Sarah's energy levels dramatically improved. So, medical tests that had consistently shown various imbalances began normalizing. She found herself naturally drawn to activities and foods that supported her health. Her healing wasn't solely due to finding the right treatment. It was because reality began reflecting her new self-perception of being naturally healthy. Though Michael felt trapped in an unfulfilling career for years, constrained by financial obligations, and believing he lacked the skills to transition to meaningful work. When he began working with the observer mirror, he realized he saw himself as ordinary and devoid of special talents. Michael began practicing seeing himself as uniquely gifted and valuable. He started recognizing his natural abilities and appreciating his accumulated experience. He began expecting opportunities for meaningful work to appear, Within a year, Michael was offered a position that perfectly aligned with his interests and talents, a position that hadn't even existed before, but was created specifically for his unique skill set. Pause. The opportunity didn't manifest because he developed new qualifications, but because reality began reflecting his new self-perception of being specially talented and valuable. Pause 1. These stories all share a common thread. These individuals shifted their focus from changing external circumstances to changing internal self-perception, and in response, the external circumstances reorganized themselves. Pause. As we conclude this transmission, take a moment to sit quietly with what you've discovered today about your power to shape reality through how you see yourself. This isn't just information you've received. It's an activation that has been dormant within your consciousness, awaiting the opportune moment to awaken. In this very moment, the observer mirror is reflecting back to you the profound fact that you sought out this knowledge, that you remained present throughout this entire journey, that something within you recognized the truth being shared. Pause. That recognition is not coincidence. It is your soul acknowledging its own creative power. Pause. The vision you've received today, that reality is a perfect mirror of self-perception, will continue to work within your consciousness long after these words fade. Pause. Over the coming days and weeks, you will begin to notice connections between your internal self-talk and your external experiences that you never perceived before. Pause. You will start recognizing intricate patterns between your self-concept and the way reality responds to you. Pause. More importantly, you will begin to see opportunities for conscious experimentation everywhere. Pause. Every interaction, every circumstance, every moment of your day becomes a chance to practice elevated self-perception and observe the mirror. Reflect that new perception back to you. Pause. Remember that your sensitivity to these concepts is not a burden. It is your essential equipment for conscious reality creation. Your ability to feel the profound connection between internal self-perception and external experience is precisely what qualifies you to work masterfully with the observer mirror. The old version of you, the one that believed you were at the mercy of circumstances beyond your control, is dissolving as you integrate this understanding. The new version of you, the one emerging right now, knows that you are the primary influence in your reality through how you choose to see yourself. Pause. This fundamental shift in self-understanding transforms everything. How you approach challenges, how you engage in relationships, how you make decisions, how you interpret experiences. Pause. All of it morphs when you understand that you are not a victim of reality, but a conscious participant in its creation. Your time of unconscious reality creation is ending. Your time of blaming external circumstances is ending. Pause. Your time of feeling powerless in your own life is ending. Pause. Your time of conscious, deliberate reality creation through elevated self-perception is beginning. The universe has patiently awaited your remembrance of your true nature as a creator being. Pause. Every difficult experience you have endured, has served to strengthen your capacity to maintain elevated self-perceptions, even when external circumstances have not yet caught up to your internal transformation. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are powerful and ready for remembering. Pause. You are not limited by your past experiences. You are free to define yourself freshly in each moment through how you choose to see yourself now. Pause. The observer mirror does not judge your starting point. It simply begins reflecting whatever self-perception you choose to hold from this moment forward. Pause. Reality is infinitely flexible and ready to reorganize itself around any identity you are willing to embody consistently. Your profound journey with the observer mirror is just beginning, but it begins now, with you fully understanding who you are and what you are capable of creating through conscious self-perception. The old story of being small, limited, or powerless is ending. The new story of being magnificent, creative, and influential is beginning. The mirror is waiting for your next self-perception. Reality is ready to transform. The consciousness is eager to express itself through your expanded understanding of your own creative power. Welcome to your authentic existence as a conscious reality creator. It's a welcome to your recognition of the observer mirror. Welcome to the understanding that how you see yourself is literally how reality sees you. The vision is complete. Pause. The activation is underway. The transformation has already begun. What you see in yourself from this moment forward is what reality will show you back. Choose wisely, Pasa. Choose boldly. Then choose from the truth of your magnificent nature. You are the observer, Azdua. Reality is your mirror. The reflection is always perfect. Twas. Now, step fully into the power of conscious creation through elevated self-perception, and which as your entire reality transforms to match the truth of who you really are. The mirror is waiting. Your moment is now. Pasta.